Hello, and thank you for stopping by. I'm your host, Jerry-Royce, and welcome to Positive Power 21 Network, where you get your positive on. This is a worldwide podcast for growth, wealth, and success. Thank you.
Positive Power 21.org, Internet Radio.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Jerry-Royce Show. I'm Jerry-Royce, and welcome to Positive Power 21.org. When it's all positive, it's all positive. That's Positive Power 21. And tonight on the show, we're going to have L'vette Sonai. But before we bring her on, we're going to announce a few sponsors for today's show. And now today I'm kind of maneuvering around a little bit, so bear with me, everybody. All right. We have ZukiPetsGifts.com. They're back as a sponsor, and it's www.ZukiPetsGifts.com. And you can click on right on our second webpage, not the home page, but the second page. And also we have the Finely Dressed Man from eBay. Just click on that, take you right to the store. And for those of you that's trying to find a good-looking used suit, you know, you don't want to spend a whole lot of money, but you're just trying to enhance your wardrobe, go out there and check out the Finely Dressed Man on eBay. And also one of the most delicious sauces you ever want to try, I mean, on anything, rice, mashed potatoes, spaghetti. We have Serrano marinara sauce, and it's called a sauce snob. And you can get them at 703-623-6966 to get your order. They're also setting up a database so you can order straight from the manufacturer, so we'll let you know when all that is happening. And don't forget about Fast Tech. That same family also owns Fast Tech Solutions, and you can get them at fasttechsolutions.net and check out our website in case you're not sure of that spelling, because you know how those guys get kind of fancy with those tech names. And don't forget our beautiful songbird, Lori Williams. She has an album out called Eclipse of the Soul. It's a beautiful jazz album, and she's one of the top jazz vocalists in the Washington, D.C. area, and she's always out and about on the weekends singing her soul out. So check her out. You can also download one of the songs, Eclipse of the Soul, called Spoken, for 99 cents on Amazon. So if you want to give her a try, go out to positivepower21.org and listen to her, check her out, and to tell her that Jerry Royce sent you. All right. We're gonna read a little bit about our guest that's on now. Her name is L'vette Sonai. She's a romance novelist, a freelance writer and poet. She hails from a family of entertainers, including musicians, songwriters, dancers, actors, and visual artists. Wow, they got all the entertainment sold down. She's a former fashion model. Yeah, I believe that. L'vette's first creative love has always been the literary art. Her favorite writer was F. Scott Fitzgerald, and poetess is Maya Angelou. She raised in Milwaukee. She attended John Marshall High alongside acclaimed men of honor and the soul food director George Tillman Jr. and Deputy Chief of Staff for the Obama White House, Mona Sufin. I guess that's right. I don't remember her. But anyway, I guess because I don't follow politics that much. I was just happy that President Obama made it in there. After that, I didn't care. So anyway, she has a beautiful novel I call Mulholland Diaries, which has been described as a modern-day Valley of the Dolls. It's her first internationally published work. A book with poems and short stories are soon to be released. If truth is better than fiction, then you're going to love my stories. All right, so how you doing today? L'vette, what's going on?
I'm well. How are you? Thanks for having me on the show. I've been really looking forward to it.
My pleasure. Yeah, when we got your text, you said you don't care what's going on in there. You coming on this show. I said, I got to get this stuff up and running. And please forgive us. We never had this much technical difficulties ever. But it's all good. We up and running. You know, that's what the Internet is for, is other ways to access it, right? That's right. So we just happen to be wired in just like you guys are. So we wasn't able to use our studio equipment, but we're going to have a good time anyway. And before we get started, L'vette, tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you had a lot on your website, but I know it's not everything about you. So tell us a little more about yourself.
Well, first of all, I live in Nashville, from Wisconsin, but I live in Nashville now with my husband, and we'll be married 11 years in June,
Good.
so that's a
All right.
milestone for us. So, he's a good guy, really supportive of what I'm trying to do and my writing and everything, and I'm a stepmom as well, so I have
All
3
right.
stepchildren, so, they're all almost completely grown up now, so, so now we're just, getting and really connecting with each other again. It's been 10 years, but, we're discovering new things about each other and just
That's
having a
right.
good time being married.
I hear you. Nothing wrong with
So,
that.
and I just, just trying to make it happen with my writing, and I love writing, and I think everyone has a story to tell, and I'm just trying to tell mine and share my experiences with people and entertain them through reading.
Good, good. Now, you're out there on Amazon. Now, can they find you anywhere else besides Amazon?
You can, if you Google L'vette Sonai, you'll find, or Google the Mulholland Diaries, BarnesandNoble.com. If you go to any of your favorite internet or online bookstores, more than likely you'll find my book. There's people in Germany who have emailed me and said, I read your book, I love it, and I'm wondering how did they get it. So it's just amazing. That's really exciting because it's crossing the pond, like the little book that could. So
that's right.
But yeah, you can. Just all of the websites, and we're trying to get the book on the shelves as well. So this summer, I'm really going to be putting the feet to the pavement and making those things happen.
That's right. All right. Now, your book is offered in paperback. Now, how about ebooks?
It's also on Kindle. So if you're on Amazon, you'll see. In fact, as my author bio, you'll see the Kindle format and the paperback format.
All right, good.
Yeah.
Good.
I just try to make it available. Some people are like me. They like a tangible book. I love the smell of an actual book. So, paperback is my first thing. And then, of course, there's a lot of Kindle readers in the world, so you have to get on board with that.
That's right. You sure do. Now, your paperback book is going for $12.48 brand new, right? And that includes in shipping. I guess they get some free shipping. I'm not sure about that.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. So, let's see. All right, now you have quite a few reviews out there. Let's talk a little bit about your reviews, okay? You been enjoying your reviews?
I have. I really enjoy, the feedback from people, and not everyone puts a review, and I wish they would. Sometimes people buy a book and then they just, I'm like that too. I may not go back and put a review, and you really should. But, I enjoy the reviews, and sometimes I post them on my blog because it's exciting to know that, people are really getting what you've written. They're getting the story and the message, and, I'm not trying to change the world with my books. I don't expect that, but there's always a message in there that I think people will grasp, and it means something to different people, even male readers. It's not just chick literature. I don't write necessarily chick lit, as they call it, because I do have male readers, and they enjoy it, and they get a little something different out of it as well. So I found that interesting.
Right. That's right. Now, I was reading over your piece you have on your book here. I'm going to go ahead and read it to the readers for those who are not familiar with your work yet. In Beverly Hills, the good life will cost you. In their world of endless wealth and luxury, Candace, BB, and what's that, Rain appear to have it all, married to 3 of the most influential men in the world of business and entertainment. They are living the dream. However, behind closed doors, they struggle with loyalty, loneliness, and painful secrets. These women begin to question whether they will survive or become victims of their own privileged existence. Here they share their heart-wrenching, revealing stories. The Mulholland Diaries shares the scandalous truth about love, sex, winning, and losing. Beverly Hills style. Wow. Now, you think you're prepared to read a little bit to us?
I am.
Okay. All right, we'd like to hear that. Since
Okay.
I just you had a couple of your characters already.
So, I mean, are you ready for that now, or you want me to?
Yeah, go ahead, and then we're gonna talk about some of your characters and why you developed them. You know, which direction did you want them to go, and you know a little bit what happened when you was writing the book. Let's hear a little bit.
Okay. Well, the first thing, you already covered the three main characters. Just to let the listeners know, like the Mulholland Diaries is it's three women's story, and they each tell their own story. And Candace Kane, you'll find she's the main character, but all their lives intertwine, and they really come to bond. And so I have a few quotes from each of the ladies, and the first one, her name is Bibi Fabian. You could say she's like the grand dame of the group, and her quote is, they're all dealing with a lot of things, just battling to keep their lives afloat in this, the beautiful world of Beverly Hills that everyone thinks is perfect, but it's not so perfect. And Bibi says, it's not like you're allowed to have a real marriage in this town unless there's a public fight or one of us is caught sneaking out of a bungalow in the middle of the night. We're not normal. No woman should ever feel so alone in her own home. I wouldn't have wished this dark time on my worst enemy. I mean, Bibi was going through some things with her husband. And then we have Candace, who she is new to L.A. She's, educated young woman from Chicago. She's going to grad school, and she meets the man of her dreams, the love of her life. Then she says, and I quote her, she says, I felt myself disappearing. I didn't want to just be Frank's girlfriend with no identity of my own, totally dependent on his world to define who I am. That's not the person I was in Chicago, and that's not who I wanted to be in Los Angeles. And so she felt herself slowly spiraling into this place that she didn't, she wasn't comfortable in. She was no longer really comfortable in her own skin.
Right.
And then you have Rain, she's a little more sassy and shoot from the hip, so to speak, but she also is dealing with this very high-profile R&B superstar. And she said, there were no more tears. I got out of the car and sighed, shaking my head because there she was, Los Angeles in all of her glory, the city that had made all of our dreams come true, had now destroyed mine. So that kind of gives you a little bit of overview of, the beautiful life that they have, but inside, behind closed doors, there's a little bit of turmoil, and they're just fighting to stay happy and keep their loves, on track. I can read a chapter, or you tell me what you want.
Yeah, absolutely. But before you go on to that, I want to ask, now, are they friends, these three women?
Well, let me tell you, the story starts out with, it starts out with Candace's story, and she kind of tells you how she met Frank, who goes on to be her significant other, her husband, and she tells you how she met him, and so that she ends up, of course, moving to Los Angeles, and then she meets these women, and they would otherwise not run in the same circles, but she was a newcomer, and they kind of took her under their wing because she was going to be prey to a lot of cattiness in Beverly Hills, and just women who felt she didn't deserve the life that she had acquired. And this girl's just really smart and just, not the gold digger at all. Just, my book doesn't have any victims, so she doesn't. It just tells the story of how she overcomes so much adversity, and all of these women do, and they struggle to overcome it. And they pretty much come out on top, but not without going through a lot of mud.
Absolutely.
So that's the story.
Wow. Now, what kind of research did you have to do to really work these characters the way you did?
Well, I'll tell you how this book started. I've spent throughout my life. I've spent a lot of time in Los Angeles, and I've had a lot of high-profile friends and family, and I've seen a lot, and I have dated a lot of high-profile people. I shouldn't say a lot, but, enough to see what really happens. And it's not necessarily a tell-all type of thing. It's a fictional story. I mean, right. I'm a writer. I write stories, but a lot of that comes from my head. And a lot of, especially Candace, I think I relate to her the most because a lot of her thoughts and her emotion and how fragile she is and just really her vulnerability, a lot of that comes from me because let's just be honest, when someone's writing a book, a lot of themselves is in that book. Yeah. Whether it's Jackie Collins or, Terry McMillan, I mean, a lot of their life is in that book. So, right. But then, right. So, I mean, that's where the emotion comes from. Otherwise, it would come off and sound really fake, and it wouldn't make sense. But then, of course, you add, a lot to it to make it entertaining, and you create these situations just to fill in and make it a good story. But that's a lot of it just came from me telling a friend one day about a lot of things that I experienced in my life in my 20s, and she said, you need to write about these. So I started writing, and next thing I know I had 90,000 words, and I said, I think I have a book. So because as I started writing, the characters just started telling me what else they wanted me to know. And so all of a sudden, Rain's character came about. BB's character came about. I don't really know what's going to happen in the next chapters. I just write, and until they tell me they're done. And that sounds kind of kooky, but the characters, they tell you what's right. That's right. And you just write it, and that's the good thing about it. And I get really, really attached to my characters when I write. So it's like when I was writing this book, in fact, I wrote it in 2010 for the most part and finished it in 2011. Didn't publish it until 2012 after, it takes a lot of work because I basically did it all myself. So yeah. But
So when were you living in the LA area?
I wasn't living there. I have family there, so I would go visit a lot. And in my 20s, I worked for an airline, and I mean, I could fly for free, so I would fly out there all the time. And and even just outside of LA, just dealing with entertainers and just people who have the so-called really good life that everyone envies. These stories just tell you that they're just like you and me. These women are all the same. These men and women, the guys in the book too. I mean, you get to know them and why they're behaving the way they do. None of these characters are perfect, even the women, and so their flaws come out as well. So I think it's a really honest story, even though it's fiction. But people seem to like it, and they're asking me about the next one because they can't wait to see what happens with these ladies, even though in book 2 it doesn't cover them, but they do come back in book 3. So.
All right, good. You're right. That's right. Got to keep them alive. Keep them alive.
That's right.
So you saw everything out there. So you saw all the sex, the money, the drugs, the fast cars, the fabulous homes, the parties, all of that, all the secrets. Right. And
right. And then the tears. And then the tears. I mean, and even just I don't know. I just always happen to spend a lot of time with people who live that life. I don't know if I chose it or they chose me or what, but I just was surrounded by it, and I would tell people over the years, you have no idea. Like, wow. I really wouldn't want that kind of money necessarily or that high-profile life because it changes people. And it changes the people around you. And so, I mean, a lot of the scenes that take place in the Mulholland Diaries, those things really happened. You just change the names to protect the innocent or the not so innocent. But
they're probably downloading the book as we speak.
Yeah, wow. I mean, it's nothing hurtful. I mean, it happened, it happened, and your story may help someone else. If you see something or read it and it sounds familiar, it may help someone else to not make that mistake.
Yeah,
or it, and it's entertaining. It's entertaining.
part in someone else's life for our joy. Go ahead and lay it on. You ready?
But the readers see a lot of themselves in these books as well. And I've been told that. They were like, wow, I related to her because that same thing I went through. And that's kind of like, wow, I was just writing a story, you know. But that feels good.
Right. So when you were modeling, did you get a chance to work out there?
Not in L.A. I did a lot of modeling in Milwaukee and Chicago, a lot of Midwest, some like New York. But I modeled in the late 80s and early 90s when modeling was fun. I was with the elite agency. It was fun, and then I always tell people when it stopped being fun, that's when I stopped. And so I stopped, and I did a couple of like commercials, regional commercials and things like that, but I did a lot of runway because I'm 6 feet tall.
Oh, yeah, so, you do look tall. I was about to ask you, are you tall?
Yeah.
You do look tall in your pictures.
So as an 11-year-old who was 6 feet tall, I mean, you know, I had people chase me down in stores and say, your daughter's going to be a model. My mother's like, no. They're like, she's got to be because we need her in our show, you know, a department store or whatever. Because I was 11 and I was just so tall and awkward.
Wow. 11.
But,
wow.
Yeah,
so
I stopped growing at 11.
So you stopped growing at 11. Wow, that's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my daughter's pretty tall, too. She 13. And I think she's about a good 5'7", maybe 5'8" now. So she's tall for a girl, you know, for that age. All
That's
right, good. All right, well, we're ready to hear, you know, your chapter. You ready? And then I'm going to read your reviews after that.
Okay, so let's see here. Let's just start from the beginning. Why not?
Okay.
And the book starts out with Candace's story. And so it's just clearly marked Candace. And I'm going to start. It's kind of long. It's about 5 pages long. So I could stop at a point because I don't want to just keep going on and on.
Okay.
But,
yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I was 31 when I met the man of my dreams. We were an unlikely match, and quite honestly, I was terrified to let him in. But on that fateful January night in Chicago, the entire course of my life was altered forever. Still, if I had it to do over again, no matter how much I loved him, I'm not sure I would make the same decisions. Eventually, a woman reaches a point where she asks, is it worth it? 30 should be a positive turning point in your life. Instead, there I was, feeling stuck and unfulfilled. At the same time, being the contradiction that I am, I'd become satisfied with the way things were. I lived for everyone except myself. Well, no more. Though I love my family, it was time to do me, and that had nothing to do with Chicago anymore. Everyone knows Chicago winters can be unforgiving. January especially is known to be bitter and frigid. This particular night did not disappoint. It was 2 degrees outside and the wind chill at least -10, the kind of night you just want to stay inside and curl up under a blanket and drink a nice glass of wine. My Pinot Grigio was chilled and ready. That's exactly what I had planned. But instead I headed out because my best friend all but bribed me to meet her. I thought, I swear this is my last winter in this town. I'm done. I lived in suburban Hoffman Estates all of my life, and I had big plans of living in the city after high school. That vision always beckoned from a visible distance, as I could see the Sears Tower from the freeway. After high school, I entered DePaul University, where I earned my BA in journalism. I just knew I would be the Black Maria Shriver. I got a little sidetracked, though, taking minutely fulfilling jobs and dating a variety of guys who were all my Prince Charming. I actually started to believe that crap. For almost 10 years, I was caught in that web. That is, until the prospect of grad school entered the picture. The only problem being I was torn between staying in Chicago or finally realizing my dream of going back to Los Angeles and entering USC's School of Journalism. Working in one of the most prominent public relations firms in Chicago, I was also up for a promotion, and I thought I'd be crazy to let that pass. But one thing was for sure, taking that job would put grad school on the back burner, and I felt that in a few years I might have to retire my dreams. It was now or never. With all that on my mind, the last thing I wanted to do on a cold Friday night was waste time hanging out with people I didn't know, especially Faith's boyfriends. She'd always been like a sister to me, but that girl worked her hustle to the bone. Everyone served a purpose in her life, even me. Standing in front of the dressing mirror, securing myself in the warmth of my plush parka, so many doubts flooded my mind. You see, being the sensible and worrisome girl I was, I questioned why I constantly followed along with other folks' big ideas. They almost always went wrong. From getting a nose job with a friend when I was 19 years old to bailing out an ex-boyfriend whose credit was so bad that at age 25 I leased an apartment in my own name so that he could have a place to live. You guessed it. He stiffed me on that one, and I was stuck with the debt. To this day, I can't believe I fell for that. I felt sorry for him and hoped he'd realize how much I cared, enough to risk my reputation to help him. I saw him years later, and he was still a fast-talking loser. Yes, so back to Faith. Once again, there I was, the responsible one who supposedly had it together, feeling like her babysitter. That night was bound to be no exception, and I honestly dreaded it because girlfriend had an angle. I wondered what it was, but was sure it would end up with me being bored and frustrated. God, I'm so sick of this. Struggling with the buckle on that jacket, it only got worse. I removed the scowl and the irritation from my eyes and brushed bronzer on my face to give a little more color to what Faith described as my too yellow complexion. Then, painting on my signature smile, I hid it out of the bedroom, bolting down the stairs of the townhouse I shared with my older sister, Ann. I'm gone. I'll be back. I'll be a little late. I love you. Ann yelled back from the kitchen, love you too, and watch out for my car when you back out. After a few minutes of staring at the steering wheel, I drove off in my Nissan, dialing on the cell phone. Faith picked up immediately. Are you on your way? Yes, I am. I should be there in a half an hour. I was nervous about the night. I'd watched friends, especially Faith, work men like pros. I tried to get out of going to that party, but Faith actually whined. No, please, this guy is classy and he's loaded, and pretty brown girls like us deserve the good life, the high life. I hated that she lumped me into her schemes because those weren't my thoughts. I was raised to do it yourself or don't do it at all, even if I didn't always follow that advice. Still, I thought about what my friend was saying, and it worried me. She sounded as if she was going to go to any length for this so-called good life. So Faith, who are these people again? Just some really nice men I met at dinner last week. You need to branch out, Candace. I turned on the interior light and checked my reflection in the rearview mirror, licking my lips and rubbing my manicured pinky across the lower. You have to make sure your mouth looks good. Anyways, there I was driving to Lake Forest with no knowledge of whose party it was. She told me earlier that the host was really nice and all that, and he was having some friends over for a game night at his place. Faith, black people don't live in Lake Forest. What if I get lost? I laughed because I knew that my saying that would get under her skin. Candace, shut up, God. That's when she got all excited. And just wait until you see his house, mansion. I felt panic set in. Faith, I don't want it to be set up with anyone, you hear me? And when I'm ready to leave, I'm leaving. After a 40-minute drive and me secretly wishing I was at home, I finally turned on the Sussex lane, a long two-lane road, of which each estate I passed the next seemed more lavish. My GPS announced that I was approaching my destination, and I entered the open gates that welcomed me. Even covered in snow, you could see the grounds were massive, and I think my jaw dropped. I couldn't help but think, oh, my God, who lives here? I picked up my cell phone and dialed Faith. Okay, I'm here. I need to know who this person is and what he does. He's not some drug dealer, right? There was a brief silence. I think Faith was actually offended. You know I don't roll with drug dealers. Not that I know of anyways. She giggled. I'm kidding. Come on, Candace. So glancing out of my car window towards the house, I was relieved inside. Just tell me who he is and what he does because this place is incredible. Faith quickly rolls off the credentials, and I took mental notes. Look, Candace, he's a successful businessman, completely legitimate. You've heard of Swan Pharmaceuticals, right? The name is all over hospital equipment, too. Well, he's that Swan. Honey, I've seen pictures around his house, and I mean he's freaking golfing buddies with Donald Trump. People part like the Red Sea when he walks in the room. She went on. And although I was getting that nervous feeling in my stomach, I also began to relax since now I probably wouldn't be in danger, so I dismissed the Scarface images from my mind. Then I started worrying that I wasn't dressed right, hoping I didn't look like I was trying too hard, too label whorish. I had on a black Ann Taylor slacks and a snug-fitted charcoal V-neck cashmere Say sweater, along with Chanel handbag that was a gift from my dad. Then I thought, just be yourself. Who cares what they think? I reached the entrance, rang the bell, and a stone-faced housekeeper answered. Good evening, ma'am. I remember hesitating because she looked less than impressed. Good evening. I'm Candace Kane, and I'm a guest of, and whilst I hadn't felt the need to explain, while wishing I hadn't explained why I was there, the woman gave me a once-over, and all I could do was hand her a casual smile. Of course. Come in, please. I'm going to stop there because it's such a long chapter, but that just kind of gives you, like, this is where she meets the gentleman that he's in Chicago, and he's this big, head of this big empire. And but she meets him, and she doesn't really, she's kind of nervous about these people. Yeah, and, but she meets him, and he's just really smitten by her. And then she ends up in Los Angeles because of him. And so that's how her story begins, and it's just, Candace is just my girl. That's the one I really connect with because I think I gave her a lot of I really connected to her emotionally because maybe she was more so like me. So it's a good story.
Check that out. All right, let's see what your reviews say. Very good. Thank you so much for reading that. All right, you have a review from somebody named Sidonia Donna. I think that's how she say her name.
Okay.
Pronounce it. I enjoy experiencing a world I have zero knowledge of. An inside look at the crazy, pampered world of Hollywood, the very rich, and the music stars with their families. So you must went really deep inside their lives. So she really got a real gist of it. Then you have someone calling herself Tulo.
Okay.
Tulo, she say, I finished this book last week. I am not usually one for reading romance novels, so I was pleasantly surprised that I enjoyed this book. It was almost like reading 3 books in one. After reading one character storyline, you can't wait to get to the other. I look forward to reading volume 2. So you got a customer ready for volume 2.
I enjoyed that one because it was like, it's just, that's how I wanted it. It's like the 3 stories, they overlap. It's not like I told one story and then the next one, but they overlap, and then you start seeing their stories merge together.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
Yeah, so.
That is great. That's just like, remind you of the way Traffic and Crash was, right? You remember those 2 movies?
Yeah, that's one of my favorite movies, and I guess, I maybe that's why I like that writing, because it was like those people didn't know each other and their lives just overlapped. But that's how life is.
Period. Yeah, I love it. I love it like that. You're right, and the life is like that. Eventually, you cross paths with these people, and you have so much in common.
That's right.
Something there caused you guys to cross paths, and it's funny because I think a lot of that has to do with the way people end up in the final chapter of their lives. Is like, how did you have this child? Well, I met I had this child by this guy. I met him because he got me the job, and blah, blah, blah. Those kind of crazy things like that happen. Now, check this out. This is from Ann Lukens, Candace, Rain, BB, women who appear to have it all until you look behind the closed doors. The manicure, the perfect hair. You love these women and relate to their struggles to be happy. They live like the top of the 1%. They are like every woman you know. After you learn about their lives, you certainly don't envy them anymore. A guilty pleasure, peeking into the diaries of women you love to hate but can't. When the book ended, I was ready for a sequel that I couldn't wait to see what comes next for these women. I highly recommend it, A Real Escape. Wow, that's so interesting because they must have really got inside the book, into these people's world, because we really don't know a lot about their world. I mean, I think they make up to 5%. She said 1%, but I think they make up to 5%.
Yeah, you have to be like the super, super rich. There may have been one I think Frank Swan was definitely the 1%. So,
okay. So
Candace,
he's billionaire.
she got it when he was definitely a Patek Philippe watch wearing billionaire. So, but
That is hot. That is hot. Then you have somebody call himself EE. Yeah, double E. L'vette Sonai, chick lit novel, The Mulholland Diaries. World is a good life of luxury as the sun sets on legendary Broad Beach. So she know a little something. I could almost hear the turbulent waves crashing the lives of the ruthless, privileged, rich, and famous, entitled snobs. She must know these people. The good life costs some women their dignity, but not Candace Kane. This beautiful, intelligent, ambitious, aspiring journalist doesn't settle for less than she thinks she deserves. Candace hasn't lost her vulnerability, although a sea of men have made broken promises. Swept away by the dashing, blue, blonde, wealthy society playboy and his fairy tale existence, she's skeptical. Could he be different? She knew that there was a price for mingling with the old money and celebrities draped in Valentino, staggering in Christian, what's that, Louboutins?
Louboutins. The red bottoms. The red bottoms that the girls are salivating over right now, but, I thought that was funny. I enjoyed this review.
Yeah, and she said the old money, the celebrities, I read that. And the drama and the tabloids revolving around the pulse of the social scene. I really adore reading this passionate romantic love story that honors women. It doesn't portray Sonai's heroine as a victim. Wow.
And I love that she got that, because that was it. It was like, there's a lot of recklessness when you live a very wealthy lifestyle, but there's also some amazing people with money, and you can't just say, she lives in Beverly Hills, she's just plastic and used up. That's not true. Because I know some amazing people who are super millionaires, and they're the most humble people I've ever met. More humble than someone who doesn't have anything. So, but I enjoyed how this lady said that the story honors women, and that's just what I try to do. Even though they fall down and they end up curled up in a ball crying, they're not victims, because they rise above it eventually, and maybe not completely, but they don't stay laying down, and that's how I try to live my life. And so
all right. Now when you were modeling, did you get a chance to see the similar type people in Chicago, in the Midwest that you saw in LA? There's different regions,
when you talk about Chicago, there's Chicago, first of all, is like 30 minutes, 45-minute drive from Milwaukee. So my friends and I spent a lot of time there. In Milwaukee, I had some really, really cool friends that I spent time with, and they were either in sports or singing or, so you get to see like an array of people. And and then it's like, you're excited as a girl in her 20s, you're excited, I'm hanging out in this house on the lake, and it's just fantastic, you're telling your mother, like, we're hanging out, and they're just so cool. But then it's like when you spend so much more time in that lifestyle, it's like, I'll take my life. I'll take my life, because, and that's just the people that I was around. Some of them just really, they were young with too much money, or the families just weren't connecting. So the money was just kind of like the babysitter for their kids, and they didn't really know what was going on in their families. So I grew up with people like that. So and so this is where a lot of these stories came from, and some readers are like, I recognize this one guy that Candace used to date, and she knew exactly who it was, and I was just like, please don't, that's not true. But she just knew who it was. But but that's because she knew me, and she remembers the story, you know, and she remembered me crying over it in my 20s. So of course she knew who this person was, and like well-known singer, and you know, in a boy band, and in the late 80s, 90s, and so she remembered me crying over it. So of course she knew who he was. Right. But I kind of like, you know, maybe or maybe not. Maybe he inspired some of that, you know, this one side character that was a part of Candace's memory, and she told those stories. So, I mean, this is a page-turner, and jokingly, one of my girlfriends, she's like, okay, we're going to start calling you Blackie Collins, you know, and I'm like, no, there's already a Jackie Collins, and she's one of the queens. So, I mean, you know, if people can enjoy my work like that, then I'm flattered. But
that's right.
I'm trying to make it happen. So
that's right. Now, how's your fans so far? Have you had a chance to go out and meet any of them? Have you done the festivals yet?
I have. I did a couple of years ago. I was in LA and I did the LA Black Book Expo, and then that was really because sometimes I'm too shy to go out and talk to people, but this summer I'm going to do a lot of that. Like I'm already set up to do book events and, you know, some festivals and setting up book signings, like in-store signings. So I'm really excited. But I did the LA Black Book Expo, and like you know, I had some celebrities who came and bought my book. Karen White, who's like R&B diva, she got my book. She said, I'm going on vacation. I'm going to read this book. And so I was really flattered by that. Good. And then I met Tyler Perry that night, and he was asking me about my book at dinner, and it was just really exciting. So that just gave me a boost.
That sounds like something he'd be interested in doing, you know, his style. You know, he loves doing stories, you know, about individuals, and the way this one is just set up, like you said, reminds you of Crash and Traffic. You know, what'd
you say? Can you say that again, a little louder, so that Tyler can hear that?
That's right. Hopefully he's tuning in to the Jerry Royce show. But I think you got a writing career. I enjoyed you reading. I said, wow, if she could just put this on audio, it'd be fantastic. I can get through a whole lot of books if people had their books on audio. I just sit at my desk and just, you know, listen while I work, you know, take it all in. I mean, you read beautifully. Really appreciate that.
Well, I'm not. I mean, I was just a little nervous reading that because I would definitely have to have someone else read it if I went that route. But it was suggested to me that I might want to think about that because that's another people do. I never really thought about audiobooks, but evidently there's a market for it because I've found online that people do.
So. Very busy people like me. There's a lot of us out there. With, you know, we do have time that we sit back and close our eyes. You know, you try taking a nap and listen to your favorite music at the same time and pray and meditate because you don't have a lot of time. But, it would be wonderful if you could do something. And the story sounds so interesting. I mean, just listening to what you were reading, what you have on your website, what's out there on Amazon, I think people are going to be really excited about this and looking forward to your next book, just like what one of your readers said. She can't wait. Now, you did mention on your site that you're releasing it this spring, correct?
No, the first book is already released, but then book 2 of the Mulholland Diaries series, because, like I said, it's a series. So you have the first one, which is based on Candace, Bibi, and Rain, and then book 2 is titled The Hollywood Girl. Okay. So the first three ladies are not in this book. This is one lady telling her story, and it takes a different turn. Okay. Like she really, I can tell you a little bit about it. Like she lives in Barstow, California, and she has dreams of being a makeup artist. So she enters school and goes to LA. She becomes an esthetician, and she has a lot of opportunities fall in her lap, and she's doing just fine. And then she meets this guy that she falls in love with, and he's just falls for her too, and they date and they get married, and he just happens to be one of the world's most beloved movie stars. And so she's dealing with, like, she loves this man and he puts her on this pedestal, and then over time their relationship even though they love each other, he's like love obsessed with her to the point where he wants to really control what she does.
Wow.
And so if she does, and he starts chipping away at that pedestal he built for her, even if it makes her fall. So she's just really dealing with a lot. This girl goes through a lot.
Wow, another form of abuse.
Until she comes out the other end, So, but yeah, her story is not different from a lot of stories out there.
That's right. That's true. That's true.
But there's a lot that goes on, in behind the closed doors again, and again, this is one of those inspired stories. It's fictional, but I've seen a lot. So
sound like a good one. One.
Yeah, I like this character. She's just a really you get attached to her.
And you did mention that you was about to release that one, so that's on your site. Looks like that one's coming out pretty soon, right?
It is, in a couple of months.
Okay, a couple of months. Good.
Yeah, not even. So I'm excited to get it out there, and I kind of posted a sneak peek on my Facebook page, and everyone's like, I can't wait. And I've had people, email me and like, when is this book coming out? Make sure I get a copy, and I can't wait to read it. So I'm excited to just get it out there and, just really go and like meet people and get these books out there, because I just want people to enjoy these stories.
Good.
Because I love writing them, and it's therapeutic for me too. So
that's right. Now your paperback is going for $12.48, and your Kindle edition is going for $5.98. So everybody, go ahead and cop yourself a copy of one of those formats. Now we out of time, but we really appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much.
So excited for you, bringing another, genre to life. The romance, bringing it like this, and when I guess the billionaire, all that money, old money that a lot of us don't know about, because we struggle with our little salaries.
And I don't claim to know a lot about it. I've just been on the outskirts of it, and
Well, we appreciate you bringing it to us, though. It's all
good. Thank you.
All right. And
I really appreciate you, Jerry. Thank you.
Congratulations to you and your husband celebrating 11 years, and your writing career, and you're raising, what you said, 3 step-kids?
Yeah, his 3 children, they live in South Carolina, and so, he gets to see them pretty often, and we're about to go to my middle stepson's graduation. He's graduated from high school.
Oh, right.
So that's exciting. Yeah. So they're all grown up now, going to college and all of that. So it's like now we're the old folks now. We're done.
Right. You get a chance to live, do some things and just watch them blossom. Live their life.
Yeah, they're good kids.
That's right. Good for y'all. Good for you guys. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, again, that is L'vette Sonai. Check her out. We have her book posted up on Positive Power 21, so you can buy it from us if you like, or you can go to her website. And your website, again, was
www.levette-sonai.com, LVETTESONAI.com. And every place you want to go, my blog, everything is on that page.
That's right, because she's tweeting and she has the Facebook going on. So that's where all the action is, right on her Facebook. Do you have a group? Do you have a fan group page on Facebook that they need to know about?
There is the Mulholland Diaries page.
Good.
There's the L'vette Sonai page, and then there's also a page dedicated to the Mulholland Diaries. But that's where I give a lot of information about the books, on both pages actually. But there's a lot of information and, sneak peeks on the upcoming novels and so forth on the Mulholland Diaries page.
Good,
so they can find me. I'm out there.
That's right. Check her out. You can Google her. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you guys tuning in. Everybody's out there live. I'm glad you guys caught up with us because we were having some serious studio issues, but we really appreciate your patience also while we was trying to get this thing together. But we want everybody, don't forget about our sponsors, Fast Tech, The Finely Dressed Man, Zuki Pet Gifts. Positive Power 21 is on Spreaker.com, so check out Positive Power 21. We can have it sent to you directly as soon as we upload it. We're also on YouTube. You can check out all the authors we have that's bringing exciting news about what they're doing, and we appreciate them. All right, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and I'm Positive Power 21, Jerry Royce. Take care and have a good night. And that's a wrap.
All right.
That ends our presentation, and thank you for joining us at Uncovering.
I played the wrong song. Why I do that?
Well, that was fun. I enjoyed it. I was a little nervous. I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't know what to expect because, like I said, sometimes I'm just shy about talking. And
I understand.
But
You did well. You did very
Thank you for tuning in to the Positive Power
Take
21
care, right?
Network. Team
all right,
21
you too. I appreciate what you do.
And we'll get you on again when you release your next book.
This is Jerry Royce at Positive Power 21, where we get our positive on.
Okay.